So, Lisa, thanks for coming on again. This is part of our One Day in Kansas City series. So it's a day in Kansas City, and mostly it's for people who either are new to the city, who are looking for things to do, or it's even for people who have lived here for a long time and are just looking for new things to do. And if you haven't listened to our episode about Urban Hikes, Lisa is the founder of Urban Hikes, the founder and owner of Urban Hikes KC. So go ahead and listen to that episode too to find out, her credentials of knowing all the secret places in Kansas City. I can't think of a better person to say, okay, here's so many different intricate spots that nobody else may know about in Kansas City. So let's take us to your perfect day in Kansas City. First of all, where are you? Are you gonna just wake up at home? Are you gonna stay at a hotel downtown? What are you gonna do in the morning?
Well, I think that probably my perfect day, I'm definitely an explorer.
Okay.
And I like to do things a little untraditionally. So I think that my perfect day is a day that uses public transportation.
Okay.
My husband and I are going to wake up in our home, which is actually north of the river.
Uh-huh.
But we have found that you can take a bus from north of the river to downtown. It's almost a straight trip. It takes about half an hour.
Okay.
And our buses are free in Kansas City.
Okay.
So we would take a bus, and our bus comes on the 30-minute. It's every hour, but it's like 8:30. So we would probably take a bus at 8:30.
Okay.
And then that would take us to downtown, and then we would have breakfast at Seven Swans Creperie.
Okay.
Seven Swans Creperie is so good. They are a locally owned, woman-owned business that is just on the edge of the West Side and Crossroads Art District. It's just right there in the middle. And their crepes are so good.
Okay.
They have all different flavors. They have sweet crepes, and they also have some that are savory. And we would go there and have coffee and have crepes to start out our day.
Okay.
So then we're on the edge of the West Side and the edge of Crossroads. We would go to find a Bike Walk KC bike rack to rent some bicycles.
Okay, so going back to the Seven Swans, one
Yes.
second. What would you get at Seven Swans?
Okay.
So, and you don't have to be like, hey, this is my favorite thing. Maybe what are you feeling right now? If you were there right now, what would you get?
If I was there right now, and especially if it were breakfast, then I would get what my friend got last time I was there.
Okay.
The day that we were there last time, they had this special that was crepes with blueberries with lemon. It was like lemon curd custard. And I'm not a big lemon fan, but this was so good. And every time I think about Seven Swans Creperie, I think about this crepe with blueberries and lemon and custard. That's what I would get today.
Okay, today. Yeah,
yes, today, if I were to go back.
On a different day, you might be feeling something else. But
Maybe.
Today, it's that blueberry lemon.
Yes,
Yeah.
that blueberry lemon crepe. And I would probably get some coffee as well.
Okay.
So that we can just enjoy our coffee together with the crepes.
Do you know what your husband would get, or is he kind of a mix-it-up kind of guy?
He would probably get some kind of crepe with chicken in it,
Oh,
or
okay.
something with. I'm not sure if they have crepes with chicken, but he would get something with eggs or something.
Yeah, with
that
protein.
with some protein in it.
Okay, cool. So you said you're done there, and then you'd go rent a bike, right?
Yeah, well, and we do have our own bicycles, but if we decide, and you can actually put your bikes on
the
the
front
bus,
rack, right?
So yes,
Yeah.
on the front rack of the bus. So really it depends on what we were feeling that day. But I'm going, just for the sake of today, I'm going to give a shout out to Bike Walk KC, who has all of these bikes that you can rent, and they work really well. We've rented them before, and they're an affordable price, and you can go wherever you want in the city, and then there are bike racks in other places where you can drop them off.
Okay.
So that's what we would do. We'd find one of those bike racks, and you can find them through the Bike Walk KC website, app, and we would get 2 bikes. And then we're going to make this a bi-state adventure day.
Okay.
We would go.
So now you're in Missouri.
Yes.
Right.
So we start out.
That's where Seven Swans
exactly.
is, and that's where you're living.
Yes.
Right? So you're coming from Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And we want to get to Kansas. So we have our bikes.
Okay.
And we're going to pick up the Riverfront Heritage Trail.
Okay.
Now, the Riverfront Heritage Trail is one of my favorite trails in Kansas City. It's an urban trail that goes from Kansas to Missouri, and it's about 15 miles long.
Oh, okay.
It weaves through neighborhoods, so you don't always know exactly where the trail is on if you don't look at a map. So it is important to look at a map unless you know the trail pretty well.
Yeah.
I include the Riverfront Heritage Trail in a lot of my hikes, so I know it really well.
Yeah.
But there is a trail, part of the trail gets you down to the West Bottoms.
Okay.
And the West Bottoms, as we know, is right between the west side, and then Kansas City, Kansas. So we'll go through the West Bottoms, and we'll make a stop at the sculpture park that I love. The sculpture park is near Faultless. If you look up Faultless on Google Maps, then there's a sculpture park that's also part of the Riverfront Heritage Trail, and it has sculptures of an enslaved family that escaped slavery, and then there are markers that tell the story of the mom, the dad, the son, and the daughter. And there are native flowers around the sculptures, and it's just this beautiful place. Hardly anyone knows about it, so there's hardly anyone there ever.
It's just very peaceful.
It's really peaceful. And then it's this piece of art that is so historically significant. So we would stop at that area, and like I said, you can find it by Googling Faultless in the West Bottoms.
Okay.
And there is also a caboose to remember the times when, trains are still important in Kansas City, but Kansas City grew at the beginning because of our trains.
Right.
So there's a caboose there too to remember that. So as soon as you see the caboose, you know you're in the right place.
Okay.
We would stop there and just enjoy some time there. And then afterwards, we would go under the bridge. So this is the bridge that is still part of the Riverfront Heritage Trail, and it's actually it's I-70 that we would be riding underneath.
Oh, okay.
And there is a bike path there. And if we just go west, that takes us right into Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay, so you're still on your bikes?
On our bikes.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. We're still on our bikes.
Okay.
And when we get into Kansas City, Kansas, we cross over the Kansas River. And then there's another portion of the bridge that has artwork, actually by the same artist, Ed Hogan, who was the artist of the sculpture park.
Okay.
So we'll ride across that bridge, and that leads us to the edge of Strawberry Hill, Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay.
Now, really close to there is one of my favorite spots in the metro area called Kaw Point.
Kaw Point.
Kaw Point.
How do you spell that?
K-A-W.
K-A-W.
And then point. And it's the confluence of the Kansas and the Missouri River.
Okay.
So as soon as we get off that bridge that we just rode across, we would go right or north. And then there's another sign that says Riverfront Heritage Trail and Kaw Point, and then there is a pedestrian bridge that zigzags and drops you off right into Kaw Point.
Okay.
The reason why it's one of my favorite places in Kansas City is because it's in the middle of an industrial area, but it's this wooded area. You see the two rivers meet, which is really powerful. And also it has history. It has Wyandotte history from the Wyandotte Native American tribe, and also has history for Lewis and Clark, who camped there in 1804. So we would go there, just hang out there for a bit. There are some walking trails that are pretty short, but we'd set our bikes down, walk around there, and we would have a snack with us, because by then we'd probably be a little hungry for a snack.
It's like before lunch.
Yeah, it's before lunch. So we would have a light snack and just enjoy it there. There's a perfect view of the Kansas City, Missouri skyline.
Okay.
One of the best views in Kansas City.
Okay.
So we would just enjoy that at Kaw Point, explore the park. Look, there is a Native American exhibit with all of the names of tribes that were from our area, and we would enjoy that and spend probably about 45 minutes there.
Okay.
Then, since we're in Kansas City, Kansas, we gotta go have some lunch in Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay.
And I don't know if you knew, but Kansas City, Kansas has something called the Taco Trail.
Yes.
And good, I'm glad you know.
I do, yeah.
And we were named by Forbes magazine the taco capital in the world, or in the U.S. U.S.
Yeah.
That was a couple years ago, because we have so many good taco restaurants.
Yeah.
So we would go to the restaurant Tarahumaras, and you spell that T-A-R-A-H-U-M-A-R-A-S.
Okay.
It's in Strawberry Hill. It's about a 20-minute walk from Kaw Point, but since we're on our bikes, it's about a 10-minute bike ride from Kaw Point.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite taco there is something called the birria taco. And it's a taco that is made with this really well-seasoned beef, and they actually soak the tortillas in a seasoned broth. So it's not just like a regular tortilla. It's a soaked, like, flavorful tortilla. They put cheese in it, and then they like cook the taco so the cheese is all melted and it's really hot. And then you can get a little soup that is a really seasoned broth and dip the taco in.
Wow.
It's like the best winter food.
Is it a big taco? Is it like one of those street taco size
Yeah,
tacos?
it's a street taco size. So I would recommend getting at least
like a few,
two.
At least two?
At least two. Normally they have an order that you can get 4, and then you'd get full off of that, but at least buy 2.
At least get 2.
And make sure you get the sauce to dip it in.
Okay.
And that is just delectable. It's this like toasted, hot, seasoned taco that is so good with a dipping broth. That's what we would get at Taromaras.
Is it pretty crowded there, or is it just like, I mean, I'm sure it can get crowded during lunchtime and stuff like that, but do you feel like a lot of people know about that place? Is it a pretty famous area for in terms of the taco trail?
Well, it is. You know, during the lunch hour when I've gone before, it definitely does have plenty of people there.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you would need to make a reservation for. You
Okay.
can go in and you go up and you order your food, and then you sit down and wait for them to bring it to you.
So they get it out pretty quick. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's usually busy, but it is also in the middle of a neighborhood. It's in the middle of Strawberry Hill, so it's not a super trafficked area.
It's like kind of tucked away.
Yes. Yeah, it's
Okay.
on 6th Street.
Okay.
It's a family-owned business as well, and they have another location on Miriam Lane.
Okay. Awesome.
So after that, we enjoy our lunch with the
you're
birria
full- you're full at
tacos.
lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, and you spell birria B-I-R-R-I-A. That's how it's spelled.
Okay.
And so we enjoy it. We're full. We still have our bikes.
Uh-huh.
And since we're in Strawberry Hill, I mean, we have to explore a little bit of Strawberry Hill.
Okay.
There is a really nice there's just so much in Strawberry Hill. I'm thinking, what would I prioritize? We would probably ride our bikes into downtown to see some of the murals. There are some really amazing cultural murals painted by Jose Faust in downtown Kansas City, Kansas, and we would just go by those murals and check those out. So after that, it's probably 2 o'clock or so, or a little bit later, and we need to get back to downtown. You can leave your bike in Kansas City, Kansas. There are bike hubs here. Yeah, at the City Hall there's one. But we would go back and ride our bike through the West Bottoms again. And we'd probably weave around the West Bottoms a little bit, and then get back and then we'd go back into downtown, and then leave our bikes at a bike hub. And then we take the streetcar.
Okay.
The streetcar is just such a great resource, and it's free.
Yeah.
And remember, this is a public transportation day also.
Yeah.
So we take the streetcar and get off at the Crossroads stop. And then we would go to my favorite coffee shop called Café Corazon.
Okay, I've driven past that. I've never been inside, but I'll go check it out now.
Yes, definitely. I hope you check it out. They have 2 locations. The location that I'm referring to is a location in the Crossroads, which is right off of the streetcar stop. And I really like Café Corazon because they have really delicious drinks that are influenced by Latin America. And there's a strong South American representation there, which I love. I have family from on my mother's side, my mom is from South America. So anytime I see that South American representation, I'm so grateful and I want to support it. But they have drinks there like dulce de leche latte, or a Seville mocha, or a spicy Mayan mocha. And one thing they have that's unique is that they have flights. So you can get 3 mochas, and in small little glass cups. They're so cute. They're on a little wooden tablet, and not wooden tablet, they're on a little board, and it's really delicious. And then we would try that. So I think that we would probably share a flight. And just spend time there. They have nice artwork. There's a lot of natural light that comes in. Just the atmospheres are really cool.
You're not having dinner there, right?
No, they do have food though.
Yeah.
They have some good food.
You could have dinner there.
Yeah, you could have dinner.
But for you, you're stopping to get
a flight.
Refreshments.
Yes, to get a coffee flight.
Yeah.
Or they have latte flights and they have mocha flights. So we'd probably get a mocha flight.
Okay.
And, they're so good.
Yeah, and that's cool that you can try 3 drinks in one. Usually you go and you look at that big coffee menu and you're like, well, I'll try this one, and maybe next time when I come back I'll try another one. But you can get all 3.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly. And then we would just sit there and sip. the mochas and just enjoy ourselves and enjoy that atmosphere for a while, maybe an hour or so. So after that, since we had gotten there on the streetcar, we would walk around a little bit. And, we had just recently had lunch, we had coffee, so we definitely need to get some walking in, even though we were biking earlier.
Yep.
But one of the things that I love is I could bike and be active all day long.
Yeah.
And that's something that we can do in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So we would walk around the crossroads a little bit.
So you dropped off your bikes?
Yeah, we have dropped off our bikes.
Okay.
Yes, we dropped off our bikes before we got on the streetcar.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
And then so we're just walking. And after that, we would, keep walking a bit. And then let's say it's about dinner time.
Yep.
Then there's a really good pizza place that is called Buffalo State Pizza in the crossroads.
Yeah.
And we would stop there and you can get it individually. You can get an individual sliced piece of pizza.
Okay.
So we would do that and eat on the patio. I'm guessing that this day is kind of a warmer day that we can
maybe
be
in the
outside.
spring or in the summer or something
yeah,
like that.
but it could still be all done if we're bundled up a little bit.
Sure.
And we would sit on the patio, have our pizza, and then we would walk all the way up to Liberty Memorial. Actually, before we go into Liberty Memorial, though, we would walk to Union Station. There's a really cool bridge that is in the Jack Stack parking lot called the Freight House Bridge.
Yeah.
And then you can walk through that bridge, watch the trains come by. You always see people taking pictures of the trains and watching them and waiting for them. We would hang out on that bridge a little bit, walk through Union Station and see if there are any new exhibits and walk around there some. And then we would walk up to Liberty Memorial. So from Union Station, it's a hill.
Yeah.
But that's okay because Kansas City is hilly, and that's something that is really cool about Kansas City. We get our exercise when we're walking.
Yeah.
We'd walk up to Liberty Memorial, and by then, I'd say it's about sunset time, we would sit on the hill that's facing west at Liberty Memorial, and that is one of the best sunset spots in Kansas City. You can just sit there underneath a tree. Maybe one of us has like a sheet or something in our backpack, or we just sit, on the ground and enjoy the sunset. And that would be the end of our day in downtown, just enjoying the rays. We would sit there after sunset too, because the rays just keep getting better and better even after the sun sets. And then to get back home, we would go back to the bus stop and then take the bus back and go back home.
And that'd be the end of your perfect day.
That would be the end of my perfect day.
That's incredible. That's a fantastic day in Kansas City. So thanks for sharing. I hope that if you're watching this, you find this super helpful and just a whole bunch of spots that maybe you didn't know about, and they deserve your patronage in your business. So
cool. Well, I was so glad to share. I'm getting excited about this perfect day.
Yeah. Hopefully you can do it sometime.
Yes.
So awesome. Thank you.